is freedom within, there is freedom without. Try to catch a deluge in a paper cup. There's a battle ahead, many battles are lost, but you never see the end of the road while you're traveling with me. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come, to build a wall between us. You know that they won't win. Now I'm towing my car, there's a hole in the roof. My possessions are causing me suspicion, but there's no proof. In the paper today, tells a warrant of waste, but you turn right over to the TV page. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come, to build a wall between us. You know that they won't win. Walking again to the beat of the drum, and I'm counting the steps to the door of your heart. Only shadows ahead, barely clearing the roof. Get to know the feeling of liberation and relief. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come, to build a wall between us. You know that they won't win. La da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da da da. Oh, let the wind, don't
Well, hello and welcome here to another Restore Live. I'm going out to you on a Monday morning. This isn't normal, but this morning we sat in and we had watched the judgment on the appeal against the constitutional changing Northern Ireland protocol. And you know, and I still maintain those words, that the protocol is constitutional changing, and for reasons being that we in Northern Ireland are separated from the rest of the United Kingdom. We don't have the same ability to trade, the same as people in England, Scotland, and in Wales, that we are linked to the EU. We are linked to an EU VAT regime. We are subjected to the European courts. And, you know, we are sort of half in the UK and half out. But this morning, the judgment on the case, well, I mean, it cited reasons as to why that the appeal against the constitutional EU protocol was being dismissed. And how that I read this would be that if a sovereign parliament, if they make an internationally recognized agreement with someone else, in this case the EU, being the Northern Ireland Protocol, well, you see, a sovereign parliament, they say, can make these new agreements, which supersedes all, which supersedes the Belfast Agreement or anything that was contained within the Belfast Agreement. Now, the judgment would have dictated, let's just say, that the Belfast Agreement, it's sitting there, it's undamaged, it's sitting there in all its former glory. But however, if we take ourselves back to the run-up to the Belfast Agreement in 1998, what you will have found, you will have heard, if you are a unionist, if you are a loyalist living in Northern Ireland, well, you see, this principle of consent, it was meant to work for you in that there would be no constitutional change without the authority of the people of Northern Ireland being put to a referendum. And the outcome of that referendum was the only basis in which the constitutional change could occur. But what they are arguing in the appeal court is that they are arguing that there is no constitutional change, that if we are separated by way of doing trade in the same manner as England, Scotland and Wales, that separation, they argue, isn't actually a separation at all. Now, let's look at this objectively, and let's look at the entire process as it has unfolded, in terms of that we have a union, and the union is made up of several parts. The union is made up of, that's the constitutional position of 4 constituent parts of the United Kingdom. That is England, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales, and that is the United Kingdom. That is the union. Now, if you look at it objectively, and if you try to break that down, and you ask yourself a question, is all of those parts of the union, all of those 4 constituent parts, are they being treated in exactly the same way? Are they being treated in the same way constitutionally? Are they being treated in the same way in terms of trade? You see, there's the questions that you have to ask. And whenever you ask yourself those questions, well, the answer is no. We are not being treated in exactly the same way as the rest of the United Kingdom. In fact, we are separated from the United Kingdom. We are England, Scotland and Wales. Well, they're seen as a country apart, as a place apart. And to use words from Edwin Poots, well, what did Edwin Poots say? Well, you see, the protocol would provide the basis for exporting from Northern Ireland to the Great Britain market. And I think that those words basically, whilst that I don't agree with Edwin Poots' words, of course, but those words really, they lay out bare the fact that we now have to export to the Great Britain market if we want to sell our goods here in Northern Ireland. So there is the reality, and no matter what a judgment says, the hard, cold reality is this: that we are separated from the United Kingdom, that we didn't have our politics delivered, our democracy delivered in the same way as people in England, Scotland and Wales. And what am I talking about? Well, you see that 17.4 plus million people voted to leave the EU, and the ballot paper was exactly the same. The ballot paper, it asked, did you want to leave or did you want to remain? And more people placed their tick or their X in the box that says that they wanted to leave. And technically, Northern Ireland, the people of Northern Ireland who ticked in that box, well, you see, they weren't afforded the same outcome of a democratic referendum as the rest of the United Kingdom. So this argument has to go on, because this argument is on the democratic side of this equation. This argument has the moral standing to continue. So, the next process, the next step in the process would be that the papers would be lodged, and it would go on to the Supreme Court. However, can we actually hold out any hope of getting through to some people that sit in the cold light of day? The people of Northern Ireland are not being treated the same as England, Scotland, and Wales. The people in England, Scotland, and Wales, and we have not been afforded the same democracy as everyone else. That we have been left behind in the EU. That we have been attached to the EU. That we are subject to the EU laws in many ways, shape, and form. That we can't get the same benefits out of Brexit as people in England, Scotland, and Wales. There are so many issues and areas that we could look at today, and we then understand that what we heard this morning in that appeal, well, respectfully, my honest opinion is that it's wrong, and for the reasons that I've just given. So the show goes on. It's not the end of things as we know it. Now, one of the other things that I would have drawn conclusion to whenever that I heard the appeal judge delivering the verdict in terms of the appeal was being dismissed, was that if a sovereign parliament, that's the British government, if the Westminster Parliament can deliver another agreement, being the protocol, and if they can deliver that in a way in which that it supersedes the promises that were contained within the Belfast Agreement for you, for I, and for everyone else here in Northern Ireland, if they can do that, is that Belfast Agreement, is that Good Friday Agreement worth the paper that it's written on? Respectfully, I would say that it isn't. I would say that if a sovereign parliament can do another deal which supersedes and overrides the principle of consent in where that the people did not have to vote for this, well, that agreement is dead. That agreement is over. That agreement is finished. And let's see, does our politicians draw the same conclusions as we do here at Restore UK? Now, taking you back to the run-up to the Belfast Agreement from 1994, going forward, you see, the words that were being floated at that time, and I was around in the scene back then, the words that were being promised and given to the people of Northern Ireland was that there would be no constitutional change without the consent of the people. And that, in my view, was the only thing that we as British Unionists got out of that Belfast Good Friday Agreement. And here we are in March of 2022, understanding and realizing that when we needed that principle of consent to work for us, well, obviously it doesn't work. So there you go, people. There is our conclusion here as to what had happened this morning in that Court of Appeal, to which that personally I sat through for the entirety of the judgment. So it's onwards and upwards. It's moving forward, and it's lodging some papers and moving on, hopefully, to the Supreme Court, in where that will be seeking the entire the first application in terms of judicial review, and then the appeal. Well, it didn't go in our favour, so we're moving on. We will move on. The show's not over. It's not over by a long shot. So there you go. Hope that helps you understand where things are. Where things are in terms of Northern Ireland, where things are in terms of our constitutional position within the United Kingdom. And lastly, I must suggest this, that, have a look and see and listen and hear with reference what it is that your political parties are stating with reference what just happened there. Will the DUP say that they don't accept it? Will they state and cite reasons as to why that they don't accept it? Will the UUP, will they accept it? Will the PUP, will they accept it? I think I can tell how the TUV will be dealing with it in terms of will they accept that decision or will they not. So yeah, we'll be watching, waiting in order to see and to hear what it is that your politicians have to say with reference to this. But you can be assured from our standpoint here at Restore UK, the show goes on. The papers will be lodged, and let's just say that we should be on our way to the Supreme Court if everything goes in the right way. So I just thought I would bring you that. So just to clarify, just to summarize, the Belfast Agreement, that Good Friday Agreement, can be superseded by Parliament, the sovereign Parliament, that is the Parliament in Westminster. And yet, what is it they've been telling you from day one? That it has to be protected, it cannot be changed, it has to stay there, it's an internationally recognised agreement. But then when that agreement comes to having to work for British Unionists here in Northern Ireland, we learn that the thing that we got out of that agreement being the principle of consent, well, that portion of the Belfast Agreement, it was overridden, and it wasn't worth the paper that it was written on. Thanks very much for coming along. We just thought that we would bring you that. And I would like to ask you that if you would just share this around so that people understand what it is that is went on this morning. And yeah, there we go. So thanks again for coming along. The numbers they sit high, they remain high on a Monday on this breaking news. So we'll see you all again. We'll see you all again on Wednesday evening. And I'm just looking for an appropriate song here to play us out. And as for the people here at Restore, we won't back down. We will be pushing on for and on behalf of the people of Northern Ireland, in order that the people of Northern Ireland are not treated like second-class citizens. Let's just see how that it is that your politicians are aiming to deal with this. Thanks very much for coming along, and we'll see you all again soon.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You could stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground, won't be turned around. And I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down. Well, I know what's right. I've got just one life in a world that keeps on pushing me around, but I'll stand my ground, and I won't back down. Stay No.
We didn't join Europe to be swallowed up in some bureaucratic conglomerate where it's Euro this and Euro that and forget about being British. We're British and we're proud of it. Proud of our traditions, proud of our national character.